Hey everyone, this is Mike from Real Life Counseling, and today I'm going to talk about how to be happy. And this is kind of the real lowdown on how to be happy, both for yourself and for the people that you care about the most in your life. It's going to be a slightly longer video than I usually do, but it really is important because people seem to be so unhappy, and this current situation that we're all facing really is bringing that out. I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of celebrities that are streaming from their homes, they're not so glamorous anymore, are they? They have a nice house, they have a lot of land, but they're not living the glamorous lifestyle, and they are as bored as we are. And I just want you to think about that because all the Instagram, the media, all the stuff that we see, this Facebook, um, people are really selling themselves. They're selling an image that really isn't true. When you take away all of that stuff, what is really happening? People are sitting home alone, bored out of their mind. They don't know what to do with themselves. Doesn't matter how much money they have, right? Doesn't matter how beautiful their home is. You can only walk around your home for so long. And when you don't have parties to go to and all your millions of dollars, well, how are you spending it? You can't go out. You can't go out to a party or to a restaurant, or right? I mean, you're limited. You're not being showered with adoration, right? You don't have your concerts that you're giving. People aren't going to the movies anymore. So celebrities and rich folk, frankly, at the end of the day, they're just like us, and they don't necessarily have glamorous lives. Certainly, none that are internally motivated. To the extent that they do have glamorous lives, it's all external, right? It's all something else that they're doing to get that, right? And of course, we all hear stories about celebrities having relationship problems and drug use and all sorts of things. So believe me when I tell you um, that they are, where it counts, they're no different than you are. So what is happiness? How do we get happiness? Well, I'm going to tell you a couple of things. First of all, I'm a teacher and a therapist, and I believe that there's the old saying that it is better to build a healthy child than to fix a broken adult. Easier, not impossible. So I certainly have a bias toward parents and schools instilling confidence, optimism, resiliency, grit into young people as soon as possible. Because if you developed resiliency and optimism, you had confidence, you were able to handle the adversities of life, and you learned this from when you were a kid, just think of how much struggle and challenge and heartache you could have been spared. I mean, things in life are going to happen, but if you are in a better position to handle them, think of how much happier you'll be. Now, one of my idols in the field is Martin Seligman. I have a whole bunch of idols: Albert Ellis, David Burns, William Glasser, a whole bunch. But Martin Seligman is one of my heroes, and he came up with it. This was a number of years ago. The formula for happiness. And basically the formula for happiness, I'll give you the letters and I'll tell you what they all mean. It's H equals S plus C plus V, right? The H obviously is happiness, right? But genuine happiness, real, genuine, deep, authentic happiness. Now that equals the S. The S stands for a person's set range. All that means is some people just seem to be born happier. There's something in our constitution that makes some people just naturally happier and some people less happier or more pessimistic or more down. That accounts for about 50%. So to some extent, it's partly evolution, genetics, just the way people are. Some people just seem to be happier. The overwhelming majority of us, though, are not, because evolution has seen to that. You know, hundreds of thousands of years ago, if you were optimistic and happy, you were probably dead very quickly. Being a pessimist, being suspicious, being negative, looking for the worst in things, you were probably right 100,000 years ago, and it probably saved your life. So being negative, being pessimistic, is actually a positive for survival. But what was true 100,000 years ago isn't true today, and what makes us successful in survival doesn't make us successful in happiness. And so most of us, for evolutionary reasons, probably are more negative, more pessimistic, and less happy um, than other people. So it seems like the people that are just naturally happy, they are in a relative minority. All right, so what else is that? That's the S. S plus C. C is the circumstances of life. Were you born in poverty? Were you born with a severe disability? Were you orphaned as a child? These are life circumstances, and especially when we're children, we don't have a lot of power or say in how those go. Um, Circumstances in life that are actually positive are marriage. Married people tend to be happier. It's not 100% clear whether happier people get married or marriage actually makes you happy. This kind of cause and effect, causation kind of thing. But married people do seem to be happier. Same thing with people who are religious or spiritual. Having a religious or spiritual belief system makes people happier. Again, is it people that are more optimistic, more open to new ideas, and they're already happy, go to more spiritual and religious things, or does the religion and spirituality make them happier? It's a little unsure at this point. So that's the C, and that's about 10%. So your circumstances and your set range together about 60%. The last part, though, the plus V, are the variables of life that are under your control. And that's a huge 40%. So what that means is this. If you're one of the lucky people that are naturally happy, your life circumstances are pretty good, you've already got 60%. You're doing great. If you're not one of the happy, but your circumstances, you're married, you have a spiritual or religious belief system, you have at least a minimum amount of income, there are no significant problems in your life, you've got 10%. Now we've got the other 40%. Now, by the way, 40% might sound like a little bit, but it's actually huge. 40% is a lot. So if you're the 40% that we're going to talk about now, if you already have the if you're married, you have spiritual life, you have a decent income, well, you've got 50 now. You have 50%. If you've got the other 50% of your set range, well, you're probably not watching this because you're already happy, and you don't feel like I don't need this because I'm already happy, right? So chances are you're part of the people that are not. So we're looking at 40 to 50%, right? For the variables of life that are under your control, and then the 10% that are just life circumstances. So what are these variables of life? Well, the variables of life include, are you a more pessimistic or optimistic thinker? Now, cognitive behavioral therapy works pretty well with this. Cognitive behavioral therapy is that your thoughts impact your feelings. If you think positively, if you think rationally and logically, you look that things are not as bad as they appear. We tend to magnify the negative and minimize the positive. We tend to engage in terrible self-talk, negative self-talk about ourselves. Cognitive behavioral therapy certainly can help deal with things in the present, in the right now. But it's really good at helping us look at the future, because we tend to engage in fortune telling or mind reading. Oh, I know they don't like me, I can tell, or I'm going to lose that job. Absolutely. So a lot of the cognitive behavioral stuff is very, very helpful in addressing some of the negativity that we see toward the future. And there is some that it also helps in the present. But I'm going to use the CBT, the positive, negative, the more optimistic and pessimistic styles, as more future-oriented. Dr. Seligman calls them explanatory styles. People that are pessimistic tend to explain events to themselves in pessimistic ways. And the way he explains this is that things that happen that are good, pessimists view as temporary. Right? If you're a pessimist and something good happens, it's temporary. it's limited in scope. It's limited to that, one. I'm sorry. It's pervasive. It's actually it's negativity is not only going to be good things that are happening are not only um, uh, temporary, but good things are limited into a certain part of your life, and good things that happen to you are external. Someone else was kind, someone else was being nice. So again, if you're a pessimist and something good happens, it's temporary. It's not going to last very long. It's very limited. It's only good in this one spot. And it was somebody else. Somebody else was being nice. On the other hand, if you're a pessimist and something bad happens, it's the exact opposite, right? If it's bad, it's going to last forever. It's permanent. It's not limited. It's pervasive. It's not just that it's happening here. It's happening in all areas of my life. Not only am I bad in this, I'm bad in everything. And it tends to be internal. You did it. You're just not good enough. You're stupid. You're bad, right? So again, if you're a pessimist, good things are temporary, limited, and external. Bad things are permanent, pervasive, and internal from you. Um, external from you, right? People are being nice. It's not you, it's other people. Um, on the other hand, if you are an optimist, it's the exact opposite, right? If good things happen, it's going to be permanent, it's going to be forever. If good things happen, it's pervasive in all areas of my life. And if good things happen, it's me. I'm a talented, intelligent, thoughtful, hardworking person. If bad things happen, an optimist says it's temporary. It's not going to last very long. It's limited to this one area, and it's outside my control, right? So optimists and pessimists have incredibly different explanatory styles for when good and bad things happen. Now you might ask, why? Why aren't we more consistent? Whether it's good or bad, why don't we view things the same way? Good question. Probably there's an evolutionary reason for it. It may be true that optimist people do tend to be a little bit more consistent. But the fact is that whatever the reason, pessimistic people minimize good things, and optimistic people emphasize good things. So practicing cognitive behavioral therapy and challenging the way we think about good and bad things, particularly in the future, is very, very powerful. Now, we just talked about the future. Well, what about the past? And we're going to get to the present in a minute. But the past, also, you can't change the past, right? The past happened. But if we can reframe it, if we can come to some terms with it, if we can have some closure, if we can appreciate the things that we did for ourselves or that other people, develop a sense of gratitude and appreciation, that will help to ameliorate some of the sting that some past painful events happen. There's a number of techniques and exercises that are very powerful, but you want to kind of deal with the past and deal with the future. Now, there's a reason for that as well. You know, dealing with the present is in some ways the most significant. You know, you want to address past issues because you don't want them kind of dragging you down, and you don't want to worry too much about the future because you have this constant anxiety. But ideally, you focus on the present. There's a very famous quote or poem that says, "Look to this day, for yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is but a vision. But a today well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope." And that makes sense because if each day is a good day, as each day moves forward, your past becomes better. And your future becomes more optimistic and hopeful. Now, it's true, before you start doing that, before you start focusing on making today good, the past has already happened. And so that's why you still have to go back and come to some kind of acceptance and closure and accommodation with the past. But once you start doing today, your past is going to be better just because each today is better, and that makes your past better and your future more hopeful. So what is it about today? What do we do today? Well, Dr. Seligman believes that there's 3 ways to make today fantastic. The first is to maximize the pleasures in life. This could be jumping into a hot shower, that first taste of chocolate ice cream, glass of wine, a foot or a back massage, watching a sunrise, you're playing with your dog, looking, taking care of your kids, and as a little baby, and things like that. You have a lot of pleasures, but they are by definition fleeting, temporary. But you want to maximize those feelings. So he suggests that we savor them. We really realize how fleeting they are. And when you're in that shower, you're jumping in the shower, you really realize that feels good, and you allow yourself to really feel it. Because you know it's going to be gone in a minute. That first taste of ice cream, instead of just shoveling it in, really enjoy that ice cream. If you're sitting with a bunch of friends during the summer and it's at a barbecue, and you're looking around and you think to yourself, this is really good. This is a nice time. It doesn't happen often. But this moment, the sun is setting, sitting out, the weather is warm, smell the barbecue, you got your friends, maybe the wind chimes are making noise in the background, and you realize this is really good. Savor that. Savor that moment. As many of these things as you can do during the day, the more pleasant life you'll be. And he calls these the pleasures, and he calls, if you can maximize them, it's called having the pleasant life. But again, that's not the deep part, but it's an important part. The next part is really the core, and this is having what he calls the good life. And by this, what he means is we have certain core values that are important to us. Curiosity, leadership, ideas of fairness and justice, creativity. These are what he calls our signature strengths. These are things that if we didn't have them, we wouldn't be who we are. We have certain core values and core strengths that are central to who we are as people. To the extent that you utilize and operationalize and actualize those signature strengths every day, you'll be happy. So let's say it's leadership. If you can use leadership in every area of your life, and that may be impossible, to whatever extent you can, you'll be happy, because leadership is a core to who you are, just as an example. So let's say you could apply it to cleaning. You got to clean the house. Okay, I'm cleaning the house. That's not fun. Not going to get a lot of pleasure out of that. How can I apply my signature strengths? Well, if your family's home, you could say to you can organize your family. Listen, the house needs to be cleaned. Kids, you each do your room. The husband, you're going to do the garage. Right? I'm going to do the kitchen. And you organize, all right? And then you're utilizing your leadership skills in a relatively mundane area, but by utilizing them, it's actually a good, because it's a core of who you are, and you're allowing yourself to use something that is core to who you are. Now, here's the thing. The pleasures are about felt emotions, right? It's about the senses, right? You feel the pleasures. The good life is characterized by an absence of felt emotion. While you're doing it, you don't feel good. You're so in the flow, so in the moment. You're not even aware of how you're feeling. It's one of those things where you're so engaged in something, and then you look up and you realize it's 3 hours later, and you don't realize how much time went by. That's it. That's the good life. That is your signature strength. Now, after the fact, you can bask in it. You can realize, wow, I was really productive. I really did a good job. But in the moment, you're not going to feel that. Now, the last part is having a meaningful life, right? So we have the pleasant life, the good life, and the meaningful life. The meaningful life is taking those signature strengths and not just applying it to day-to-day stuff, to work, or to family, or to friends, but applying it to something greater than yourself, something more important, something, the community, could be the environment, helping care of in an animal shelter, or something like that, right? You're applying it to something greater than yourself. If you do all of these, you have what's called the full life. So you have the pleasant life, the good life, the meaningful life, and then doing all of them is you're having a full life. Now, let me just add a couple of things to this. And this is all great, and this is really powerful. And I think this should be taught in schools. I'm a teacher, I think this should be taught in schools. Dr. Seligman also realized a couple of things. In addition to the happiness formula, where 50% is just genetics, frankly, it's just who we are, 10% is life circumstances, and 40% are these variables. The things that I just mentioned, cleaning up the past, being optimistic about the future, and then the present, right? The pleasant life, the good life, and the meaningful life. Those are all the V. All those together are only 40%. But even more than that, what Dr. Seligman has said is that dealing with a lot of issues like depression, anxiety, stress, anger, loneliness, a lot of the results of therapy, it seems to cap at improving about 65%. So even if you were in therapy, and even if you did everything that you wanted to do, at best you could fix the problem or cure the problem. We don't talk about fixing and curing, but just in terms of layman's views, at best 65%. So you can improve your emotions 65%. Well, what about the other 45%? Well, yes, there's a way to deal with that, and that is called through resilience. Right? You can't fix it or manage it, or cure it, but you can learn to live with it. And an example would be if you're a sports team and you're in the championship and the stress is on. Well, you can't stop in the middle of a game and start doing deep breathing exercises or guided visualization. You have to perform with stress, right? So the stress can't be taken away, not at that point, but it can be dealt with. You can develop resilience, right? You can handle adversity. You can't take it away, it's there. Taking it away would actually make it worse. But you're in a position where you can really deal with it more effectively. The good thing about this happiness formula, H equals S plus C plus V, is it does both. It fixes what can be fixed up to that 65%, but it also, through optimism and resilience, can address the other 45% that might not be fixable, that might not be able to be overcome, but that helps you manage it much better. This is really powerful, and unfortunately there seems to be a lot of people that are either skeptical about it or they don't know about it. I think this really can go a long way to making people much more positive, more hopeful, and certainly more optimistic and happy in their lives. If this is something that interests you, you can contact me. You can read more about it from Dr. Seligman and his work at the University of Pennsylvania. And I'd be curious to what your thoughts and what your feedback is. Anyway, all the best. Hope you're all staying safe, and I'll speak to you soon.